Subscribe.
My name is Jason Shurka. I have the privilege of working with an organization, a clandestine, undercover, underground organization known as TLS, otherwise known as the Light System. It's all about how to have a finger in certain places to influence things and make things move, to be able to beat the monster from within. It's understanding that we have the potential within. We have the ability to do what all the great leaders and religious leaders and spiritual leaders have done in the past. A caterpillar transforms and metamorphosizes into a butterfly. That's basically shapeshifting. We call that natural. So when a human being can do something like that, for whatever reason, we call it supernatural, and it's only because we're living subnatural lives. The Bible never caused war. The religious leaders, the people that started spreading those messages through their own corrupted lens, were the ones that caused war. And right now we're going through the process of unwinding and untangling that mess, energetically speaking, to eventually get to the same point that we were at thousands of years ago, which is one world, one life, love for all, compassion and unity. That's what the age of love is, and that's where they're trying to bring us to. So the reason why TLS works with these beings is because it's all bringing back universal awareness, bringing us all together. Time and space doesn't exist in the same way that it does from that perspective, from that awareness, from that consciousness. So it's a completely different way of doing things, and it starts with awareness. It's something that's beyond the laws of physics as we know them in application today. The craft becomes an extension of the operator's consciousness, and that's how they're going those distances and those speeds. I know it sounds like it's out of a movie, but these are real things. My name is Jason Shurka. Many of you may know me as the founder of Unified TV and Unified Healing. But there's a very, very exciting part of my life that I want to dive into, that I want to share with all of you. That's the fact that I have the privilege of working with an organization, a clandestine, undercover, underground organization with incredible intentions known as TLS, otherwise known as the Light System. What you're about to hear over the next few episodes may blow your mind. It's going to challenge your belief systems. It's going to break them down, and that's okay. My job is not to convince you. My job is not to persuade you. My job is to share what I've been asked to share with the world. And what you do with the information you're about to hear is completely up to you and your own free will.
So in the late 60s in Vietnam, when the war was raging, some of the people in the Vietnamese military dug many tunnels underneath the ground, and they used them to hide some of their troops and to use them to go from place to place. This is common knowledge. You can even go and visit them now. But apart from those and, the catacombs across Europe, there haven't really been many reports of subterranean structures around the world. Yet you're claiming that TLS have made you aware of a series of thousands of miles worth of tunnels underground? Explain to me what you know about these tunnels. Where are they? What's their purpose?
Let's first go with what's publicized. Anybody can look this up. Have you ever heard of they call them DUMBs, Deep Underground Military Base? Public knowledge, they're deep underground.
Like bunkers and things like that as well?
Yeah, but in many cases connected as well.
Okay.
So underground cities, underground, forts, underground, whatever it may be, for storage, for technological developments, for whatever they want to do down there.
Maintaining, society if there's a massive bomb or something like that.
Yes, so deep underground military bases. We know that publicly. Now take that to the next level. Just like those exist, There's ones that they use through the DUMS system, but there's even deeper and even bigger. You're talking about major, major, major underground hubs in cities where things were done. Where what used to be okay 1,000 years ago, 50 years ago, I'll give you examples in a second, are no longer okay. So they're not going to stop doing them. They're just going to change the location that they do them in. Go to the Holocaust, Dr. Mengele. Dr. Mengele was famous for going and ruining children for science, doing horrible, horrible things to them. Now that so-called stopped after the Holocaust. It didn't. They still do those things underground, and it's not just to Jewish children.
So you're not really just talking about tunnels for transportation. You're talking about like cities, towns underneath the ground.
Cities. There's actual technology that is also publicized. It's massive. It's like 100-foot diameter.
Can you? I know you're saying that they're all over the world, but can you map one out for me? Like, are there any of these tunnels, these areas in America?
Yeah, of course. They're all over.
Where is one of them that you're aware of?
Every single state, many different places, everywhere.
Okay, so like we're in California now.
Have you seen the movie Who Cloned Tyrone?
Yeah.
Okay, that's based on a true story. Okay, that's not just a funny movie. That was disclosure right there.
Well, that was like don't drink the Kool-Aid, you know?
Most people don't understand what's going on there. That movie, you saw how there was an abandoned house with an elevator that took them into a whole base?
Right.
That's real. That's under the Colorado O'Hare Airport in Denver.
Okay, so, you know, based on the hypothesis that it's real, you can take an elevator down under the ground to...
under New York City.
Okay, well, let's use New York as an example.
Okay.
So you've taken this elevator or whatever down to this subterranean tunnel. How big are these cities?
Depends. It could be kilometers. It could be something smaller. There could be different rooms. It depends on what they're using each part for. So, for example, Portugal, I believe Melbourne, and there was one more place, I believe it was in South Africa. Those 3 locations are the main hubs of where they do things to children.
Do things to children like experiments and things like that?
It could be sexual exploitation. It could be rituals. What? It could be cannibalism.
So this isn't like a government thing. This is something else, right?
It's not just a government thing. There's the government and then there's the dark government. The dark government, some people in the government, ex-presidents, vice presidents, things like that, are a part of it. Kathy O'Brien, she's a dear friend of mine. She was a part of a survivor from Operation Project MK Ultra. She'll tell you about all of these. All having to do with things like Bohemian Grove. But if you think that's crazy, they hunt them too. Have you ever seen that Dr. Phil episode that was taken off air? Somebody wanted to take it off air. There was a woman telling her story of how there were certain individuals that many people know that were hunting her. They play games.
There's a movie, Hostel, which is similar to that, where people were kidnapped across Europe and taken to a place underground and then you could pay to
those things are real.
them or murder them.
Forget that. There's the dark web. You can go and pay somebody to go and cut somebody's leg off. Horrible, horrible things. Only over there, they're not just doing it to adults, they're doing it to children. Again, the reason why somebody like you or me can't understand it is because there's a human being and then there's a psychopath. We're not in the brain of a psychopath, so don't try to understand why they're doing it. Just know that these things exist, and they've been doing it for a very long time.
I'm having like a visceral reaction to this. Like just, if what you're saying is true, that's just unbelievable.
There are people that come out and share their stories.
But you're talking about there being hundreds, if not thousands, of tunnels and cities and
over 1 million children.
So we have enough sick and twisted and perverted people on this planet to require over 1 million children?
Yeah, of course. Why not? And you're not talking about just a small network of individuals.
So who the hell built these tunnels? Because I mean, like we know how hard it is to build a skyscraper and just to have excavated the ground enough to be able to reinforce it and have a car park.
Think bigger.
I mean, that's a big deal. So how on earth are they building these massive structures without anybody knowing?
Think bigger and go back to ancient Egypt.
So you think that they existed?
No. I'll tell you exactly how they built them.
Okay.
There's a technology that they use to build those pyramids. They call it electromagnetic pulsation, and the higher level of that is electromagnetic laser pulsation, EMP and EMLP. Those two technologies can do a lot of great things in the world, like they used them back in the day with the pyramids to be able to communicate with other planets and levitate pyramids and things like that. And those technologies can also be used to do a lot of harm, like wipe out an entire country. It makes a nuclear bomb look like nothing compared to what we're talking about over here. So to be able to create a tunnel that's a kilometer wide, that's very long, that's, 10, 20, 30 kilometers underground, in some cases even deeper, you're going to need some crazy technology.
Right.
Because to be able to do something like that, we're not talking about a tunnel where you need to take the stone out and bring it out.
Evaporating.
No. It is vaporizing and creating the equivalent of like glass. That's how hot we're talking about, how fast. Now, there are weapons that they use down there to secure those tunnels, because you can't have guards all around the world in thousands of tunnels. You need something else. They have a train system down there that brings you very, very quick. Elon Musk is talking about the Hyperloop. We're talking about something that advances the Hyperloop by many, many, many generations.
But a similar
idea,
right.
magnetic levitation, 17,000 miles per hour. Extremely fast.
Okay, so have you actually been in these tunnels yourself, or have any of these mentors that you have been in these tunnels?
With my job and my position in the organization, that is not my path. That is not it's too dangerous for somebody like me to go down there. The way I know about all these things and the information I'm sharing with you today has to do with the briefs that I got, the experiences that were shared with me. In some cases, I was with people right when they got out of those tunnels in Long Island, New York, right when they got out of those tunnels after an ambush.
People that had been captured.
I'll give you the story.
Okay.
Basically, there was an operation underground in those tunnels where 20 agents from TLS, it was 2 women and 18 men. Ray was a part of that operation. 20 individuals had to go on this train, basically, take the train. They use a method called transducing, which is that, you can call it like a mind control method, only to be used in certain situations to get past something. So if there is a guard, if there is an operator on that train, they would go and influence the person to do what they need to do to take over the train. The goal was to go to Portugal from New York in 22 minutes, 17,000 miles per hour. In 22 minutes, do the job and leave. The job in that case had to do with destroying certain things in the tunnels. In addition to that, retrieving some children that were held captive over there. They didn't make it through. They got to the train part. There was an ambush. 17 of them were killed. 3 of them made it out. 1 was Ray, and the 2 women were protected by Ray, and they got out of there. Now, how does an ambush happen down there? You're not talking about pistols and shotguns and guns. That's not what we're talking about here. They even use that EMLP, electromagnetic laser pulsation, as literally think about it like
weapon.
Star Wars, okay?
So just vaporizing.
You vaporize. So TLS has certain suits. They go up to the neck, down to the ankles, and they have boots. Because in addition to actual people down there with those weapons, again, you can't guard everything, so they'll set what we would call like a booby trap of electromagnetic laser pulsation. So let's say you walk on it and it's implanted in the ground like a mine, only this mine doesn't take your leg off, it vaporizes you. The boots and the actual suit will protect you from something like that. If you get shot in the face or the head, you're gonna have you're done, you're over. So that's what happened in that situation. When Ray came out of the tunnel, I was there helping him talk about modalities. He showed me what to do, because now you're being radiated. It's a bulletproof vest against radiation.
It's still being hit.
The guy was shaking like you've never seen. So I had to put my fingers, I remember, behind his knees, and I don't remember where else on his body exactly. This was about 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago. But I had to put my fingers on certain portions of his knees and his body. There was another woman there with me to help release the radiation. That's a method that TLS will teach you how to overcome.
I need to go deeper. I need to go deeper into this, because this is just, it's a lot. Where were you? Were you there at that point? Had he called you and said, "Hey man, like this has just happened," and you'd gone to his rescue? And what did these women look like? I want to go deeper into this story. So tell me about the moment where you've seen him.
I can't tell you where it happened. I can tell you that I got a phone call from somebody. I understood the situation, and I went to go help.
They were literally like, "You need to go and help extract this."
It was somebody else. I can't go into details on that one.
Okay, just tell me as much as you can.
Somebody called me. I'm being vague on purpose. Somebody called me. She told me, "We need your help. There's a situation over here." I showed up to the location that I had to be at. There was a bed over there. He was laying on the bed, and me and this woman were helping Ray. get rid of that radiation from his body. He was in very, very bad
And did
shape.
you intuitively know how to do that?
No. He showed me. He said, I need you to do this,
Like a
this,
form
this.
of Reiki, kind of like trying to release
Basically,
the energy?
yeah. It was two fingers like this, if I remember correctly, behind the knee, maybe even in front of the knee at some point. It was one of those moments where there's so much happening in such a short period of time, you don't even know all the pieces
It's like
anymore.
someone's being shot. And you're
Yeah,
trying to,
you got to help the man.
Stop the bleeding.
Yeah, like you're not paying attention to what every single step I'm
Right.
doing. It was just go and do what you got to do. And I love this man. You know, I want to help him. So it was.
And what did he say? You know,
Like
you've done what you've needed to do, and he's sort of calmed down now, and you know has survived.
No, he went home. He went to sleep. I went to sleep.
What
We
did he?
spoke-
No, but what did he say? What, like surely he was just like, "Oh my God, this just happened." And, like, did he regale this?
No, it was after the fact that he started
Right.
telling me more. And then actually just...
So he was just in shock and just was.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really speak after 17 of your
on.
friends are murdered. And,
Right.
you know, you have radiation in your body. You need a break for a second. But a few days later, I think he saw that I started getting negatively impacted because, again, like, we have a very deep relationship.
Yeah, and what
and
you
I
saw would have
see-
been horrifying.
And I always see, so now he started seeing that I was worried for his safety. So he kind of took a step back and he understood, like, maybe I shouldn't tell him every detail. And I said, you know what, tell me what you can, but just like, I started really not feeling okay during the day because every 2 seconds I'm like, is he gonna die? Is he gonna go? What's gonna happen tomorrow? It started impacting the day I was dealing on a day-to-day life. But I mean, we still have information. I'm sure there are a lot of things he doesn't tell me.
What happened to the women?
I don't know. They're alive. I just don't know who took care of them.
Do you feel like that happens a lot within TLS for yourself, for the other agents, that you know you're kind of really involved in a moment, but then well, you've done your job now, go home.
Yeah, it's robotic. There's no time in a
But what
situation.
happened? Nothing. Yeah.
In a situation like that, like one of the things that I've been trained to do over the past couple of years, and I'm still learning, in a situation like that, there is no emotion. Zero emotion. You
It's
need
almost
to,
military style, isn't it? You know, when someone's truly like,
in a
you know, like
way,
a Navy SEAL that's been so trained that you know they're immune to like doing all of the things that they have to do in their
one
job.
thing that they won't usually do is, in some cases, there could be a mother and a daughter that are working together, and the mother brought the daughter in because the daughter held a certain signature that they wanted to use, and of course with the mother's consent. And sometimes the children are young; it could be 5, 6 years old, but the mother says, "No problem, let's go, let's do this," and it's all consensual, everything's open. But yeah, I mean, in a case like that, they can't always work together because there could be issues. You know, you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation. You're going to act differently if that's your son or your daughter in the room.
So it sounds like what's transpiring in these tunnels is awful. TLS, the way you describe it, is that they're a group trying to help the human race, I guess, to improve its situation. Are they doing something now to try and shut down these tunnels or infiltrate these tunnels and shut down the people?
So in August of 2019, pre-COVID, I was very sick. I don't get sick often. I was very sick. I got a call from Ray. I lived in Great Neck at the time in Long Island, New York. I got a call from him and he said, listen, I know you're not feeling well. It's not what you think. I'm coming over, make sure your house is clear. I said, okay, no problem. Got everybody out. He came. I'm laying in bed like I'm dying. Like it was bad. And I never felt like that before. And he came with a bag with a few different things. One of those things was a water bottle with an orange Sharpie circle on the bottom. And it was just, I mean, it looked like a glass regular bottle. I don't know what it was. But he said, listen, there's water in here. Drink it, but you never let the water go below this line. There was a line a third of the way, like from the bottom. So like 1, 2, 3 over here. 33% from the bottom of the bottle, there was an orange line. He said you could fill up the water, this bottle, from your own filtered water in the house. You never let the water go below this line. Drink it. He gave me a few things to put on my face and so on and so forth. And he said, you'll be fine. I'll explain later. I said, okay. I started doing that. Really, within 12 hours, everything was gone. I didn't understand what was going on. But in that same meeting when I was sick, he shared a few things with me. And he said, listen, there's about to be something that's going to happen New York City is going to shut down amongst many other places around the world. And I'm looking at him like, what the hell are you talking about? There's no way. I mean, think of trying to comprehend New York City.
We never had a
Ever.
pandemic in our lives to even.
I really looked at him and I said, listen, now you're pushing it too far. Like, let's take a second here. I don't believe him. He said, listen, I'm sharing information with you. I'm giving you a heads up so you can prepare. There's going to be something going on around the world. We're trying to stop, but it doesn't look like we're going to succeed. People are going to get sick, but it's not because of what you think it is. It's not because of what the news is going to tell you. You will see people getting ill, and you will see people dying along the way as well. In addition to that, he said there are going to be fires in Australia. He told me there are going to be fires in California. They are not real. They're calculated. They're using electromagnetic laser pulsation, in some cases from out of the atmosphere, to create these things in a controlled way to create chaos. There's going to be fires in Canada. There's going to be floods in Australia. And I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? And I said, you know what? Give me something that's going to prove everything that you're saying is right.
Because you're suggesting that he was having almost premonitions about things that
well, not premonitions. He was given a brief on...
this is what's coming because
It's from the organization. He's not a prophet or anything.
Right.
He was just given information. And I said, I need you to give me something that is foolproof. Prove it to me. And he said, okay, at the end of this month, I want you to go to the UGSG, whatever, Global Earthquake Database. I forgot what it's called. It's like 4 letters. Go to that website and look at the ratio of how many earthquakes happen at 10 kilometers right now, and there weren't many. And then look at it starting at the end of August in just a few days into the beginning of September. And tell me what you see. He said, you're gonna see a spike in earthquakes happening at exactly 10 kilometers. Over and over and over again. The majority of them will happen at that depth. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, how do I know? I said, how do you know? He said, because TLS is going to blow up those tunnels. And many of them are not at 9.9 and not at 10.1. They're at exactly 10 kilometer depth. Lo and behold, I swear on my life, you could check this out on the database. End of August, beginning of December, there was a period of 5 days, 33% of the earthquakes were happening at a depth of exactly 10 kilometers over and over and over again. It was in that month when you saw in Abu Dhabi, in Russia, there were explosions happening all over the place. Remember what happened in Lebanon? Explosions happening all over the place. That was connected to the tunnels. Sometimes there were mistakes, sometimes it works. But that was the work of TLS. When you saw a 10 kilometer depth over and over and over again, they were blowing them up. They were destroying them so these people can't use them. It was that point where I said, this guy, I don't know what the hell is going on, but I'm all in. 5 months later is when I was invited to the TLS meeting in February 6th of 2020.
Okay, that's really heavy. That's extreme. Because I guess, if what you're saying is true, it's as though he's able to somehow see into the future.
No, there's a plan. He can't see anything in the future. He's told what the plan is because they have intelligence in the TLS organization. They told him, he told me, and I told the world. That's how I'm using it.
So there's a plan. So like all of these things that are happening, what you're basically suggesting is that all of these things that happened, COVID and other things, were planned.
Absolutely.
And he was privy to that plan. So what else do they know?
A lot. Most of the disasters, the fires, the floods that you see at this point around the world, it's not what they're telling you they are. There's other things going on. And thankfully, TLS and many others, it's not just the organization, but TLS is privy to these things. So there comes in some situations where they're allowed to intervene, what I like to call divine intervention. And they stop certain things in some cases, but sometimes they succeed and sometimes they fail.
Okay, so, I think everybody watching this will want to know about any other divine interventions that might be occurring, as well as the ones that have happened in the past. So can you tell me about that?
You sure you're ready to go down that rabbit hole?
Yes.
Okay, then let's do it.